Hey everybody, welcome to the Water Break Podcast. My name's Brittany Woods, and I hope you guys are having an amazing week. I am going to be talking today about what's a life coach. What are they for? What can they do for me? What does it cost? What is the point of them? And are they worth it? And how do you find one? Life coach is kind of the pre-stage before you need to go see a therapist. So for me, therapists are used for extreme trauma and things that you need extreme therapy on, and things that are like extreme emotional trauma. And having a life coach is more of like the day-to-day struggles and problems that we go through in life. For example, if you have anxiety, or if you feel like you just don't have any goals in your life, if you just feel down in the dumps and you feel like you have no purpose in your life, that a lot of times means that it's time for you to get a life coach. A lot of life coaches niche down to specific topics. For example, some will be like mainly focused in on people going through divorce, people that all their kids have moved out and they go through, there's a lot of issues and problems that a lot of couples might go through when their kids move out. It is for people that want to start a business. If they want to quit their day job and start their own small business, there's life coaches out there for that. What else? If you're having any struggles with relationships, like if you are just really struggling to love one of your kids or your spouse or your mother-in-law, or really any relationship that you have, you can talk through and manage your emotional and your emotional status and your thoughts through that. If you're going through any kind of like religious turmoil, I have talked to a couple of people and heard of a lot of different podcasts where a lot of people are really struggling with this right now. I'm sure it's because of quarantine and feeling like the world is like crashing down around us, but a lot of people are really struggling with that. And having a life coach is kind of like having a person on the outside of yourself looking in, and they see all the circumstances and then they see how you are reacting to it, like your thoughts behind it, your emotions behind it. And they're kind of like a non-biased, non-judgmental person that can evaluate you and not, skirt by and just try to make you feel better. They really talk about the facts and really go through the different circumstances that you're dealing with on a very solid, non-biased way. And so then you can kind of work through things with that help. Because a lot of times, you say, oh, I can handle it, I can deal with it. And yet you're struggling and continuing to drown and doing all these different things, and they're not working, and you're not getting to this place where you feel content. And you reach out to your friends and your family, and a lot of times they're not honest with you. Your friends and family are going to tell you, hey, you're having a little pity party for yourself, you need to get over that. Or, hey, you're kind of being selfish. You're, those harder truths where a life coach has that opportunity to give that information to you. And, they didn't grow up the way you did, so they can really see it on the outside looking in, which is so important. They can help you increase your self-esteem, your self-confidence. They can help you with big life transitions like divorce, menopause, moving to a different state away from family, if you have a death in the family and you're having a lot of issues and a lot of hard thoughts around that situation, and really just increase your purpose in life. And I mean, there's such a big list that they can help you with. It's so great. They can help you if you're struggling with different parenting styles at home. Maybe one parent wants to do something a certain way and the other parent wants to do it this way, and you just are really struggling to get along and to manage the situations at home. They can help you quit habits. So if you're having like habits such as overeating habits, if you're having issues with maybe you don't like that you judge people all the time, or maybe you don't like that you are always trying to control the situation. It can be anything. So it also kind of wraps around to weight loss. A lot of people use life coaches to lose weight because, as many of you have known, especially being a woman, you probably have gone on or started at least started a diet at least over 100 times. It happens to all of us. It's hard. It's not about losing weight is not about the eating the food. It's not about what to eat or how to eat it or anything. It's not about the diet. It's all the mental game. It's the emotional turmoil and the emotional weight that you're having inside your head. A lot of physiological things happen at the same time. If you're addicted to sugar, obviously that's going to play a role because every time you have sugar, you're going to get a dopamine hit and your body's craving that. So that can be a really hard thing to manage and to deal with. And so life coaches are kind of there to be that person that's not telling you what to eat, but are telling you, okay, when you have this urge to eat, or you have this urge to want to do something or have something, and you know that it's not going to be a good decision in the end, they can be there to kind of follow through with you and be that person there with you to help you be accountable for yourself. So that's a very long list of things that life coaches can do. They can help you out with any issues that you're having with your life. And so it's kind of nice to get started with something that you realize that you're having a problem with. And usually the coaches are really well-rounded, so they can really help you in any area or situation that you're having a problem with in your life. So what do they do? So when you hire a life coach, you will set up a time with them. Usually it's like once a week that you'll see them, 3 to 4 times a month. And you'll chat with them for, I think it's like 20 minutes to an hour or so. And you just kind of talk about the issues that you're having. And they help you manage your thoughts so that your emotional health can be more manageable. And what I mean by that is your emotions are directly linked with your thoughts. So when you have a circumstance or a situation that you're dealing with, say that you got in a fight with your best friend and your friend said something that really hurt you. It was something that was, very vulnerable, and they kind of just threw it back in your face. Well, when you get into a circumstance like that, you can't feel hurt or sad or angry without having a thought to cause that emotion. So if somebody said something to you and say the emotion you felt was hurt, you're going to have a thought that says, maybe it's, I can't believe they knew that this happened to me. I can't believe they would say that. And then you would feel hurt. Or say you were angry. The thought that derived from that would be, something that usually it correlates with, the thought that you have. And so that's kind of where they help you differentiate those differences, knowing that just because a circumstance happens does not mean that you immediately have to feel a certain way. And that all of the feelings that you're having is up to you. And that's kind of where you can take control back into your life. And that's kind of where the life coaches play a part in your life. They help you take back control of your life. And do I need one? If you feel like there's something more in my life is so dull, or there's something missing, you're unsatisfied, you feel like you don't really have a purpose in your life, all of those things kind of warrant a life coach. I mean, you can go on feeling that way. That's totally up to you. But if you do want a change, if you feel like you have listened to all the podcasts and did all the research and you've tried everything and you still feel like there's something missing in your life, having a life coach can change that. It took me a really long time to finally sign up and make the commitment to get a life coach. About 2 years ago, I started listening to Brooke Castillo. She's a life coach, and she had this very traumatic life, and she figured out how to get through it and to take control of her life. And she's like a multi-millionaire now. In like 1 year, I think she went from making as a life coach $500,000 a year to $15 million. So yeah, she knows her stuff. She has created a school where you can be certified to be a life coach. She's created what's called self-coaching scholars that helps. I mean, there's probably hundreds of thousands of people that are in that program. But she's helping people change their life and kind of get their toes wet into the life of life coaching. And she really believes that life coaching is the next thing to help people in this highly digital world, this highly secluded solo world where there's a lot of connection through technology, but not a lot of emotional connection. And so a lot of people struggle with the anxiety and the depression and the loneliness and things like that. And she really feels like having a life coach can change that. And so I started listening to her about 2 years ago when we were living in Gilbert, and I didn't even know what a life coach was. I didn't even know they existed. And she had been doing it, I think, for like 2 years on her podcast before I started listening to it. And every single episode, I think they were about 20 to 40 minutes long. And they completely changed my life. And she taught that it's okay. She almost gave me permission that the thoughts and the feelings that I was having were valid, and that they were valid, but they were all up to me. The reason I was feeling all those things is fine, but I needed to be okay with that. I realized that my feelings of guilt and shame and hate and self-pity, they were all me. They were all coming from me. And it's almost like I blamed the world for feeling those feelings. And at that time when I was listening, I realized that I was feeling those feelings, but I didn't really know how to handle it or what to do with it. For a long time, I was like, I can do this. I can figure it out. I can, listen to her podcast and make a change in my life, and I can fix this, and I can just do it myself. And I did that for a year, about a year and a half or so, just dealing with all these things and trying to figure it out myself. And I really felt like at this point, I wanted to join her self-coaching scholars because I feel like now that I was aware of all these things, I wanted to make a change. So when I joined the program, it's kind of getting a life coach is kind of, you realize that you have these simple emotions of guilt and shame, but then you realize even more about yourself. And so you have to kind of be prepared for that. And so that's kind of the catch-22 of getting a life coach, is you have to go in there knowing that you are going to find out a lot about yourself that you're not going to like. And you have to deal with it. And you have to actually do the work to work through it and be kind to yourself and be vulnerable. And you have to take action. You can't just learn all these things about yourself and just do nothing. You actually have to practice it out. And that's kind of some of the things that they encouraged us to do. We would go on coaching calls that would allow us to talk about what's going on. And once we realized what we needed to do, we had to actually do it or we wouldn't improve. You're not going to succeed and be successful if you don't do anything. You can have all this knowledge about your emotional health and mental health and being the best person that you can be, but if you don't do anything about it, you're not going to go anywhere. So that's kind of the thing about life coaches, is if you don't commit and you don't put everything you have into it, you're not going to get anything out of it. Everything you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you expect them to just fix you and make you feel better instantly, it's not going to happen. It's you. You have to put the work in. You made your life this way. You have thought, let your mind think all these things to become who you are. And so now you have to deal with it and you have to face it. And that is exactly what they help you do. You can continue living in this naive rose-colored glasses life and be miserable, or you can actually take action and move on with your life, face who you truly are, and become the person that you know that you're supposed to be, that person inside you that you have never been able to achieve, and achieve it. Get there. Do the hard work and stop just letting life pass you by. And that's kind of my experience with a life coach and how it's changed me. But I feel like life coaches are really underrated and they could put so much good and success into this world. So last thing is cost for life coaches and how to find a life coach. The cost for a life coach is usually like $75 to $100 per hour. And if you do, some of them do like a monthly charge, and it's usually between $300 and $500 an hour or a month. So it's really an investment, and you really have to be committed and find somebody that you really love, because it is a lot of money. And I never felt like it was worth it until I had the money to do it. And I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere by myself. I wasn't succeeding. And I would make all these plans and all these goals, and I wasn't achieving them. And it's so frustrating. And so I decided I was just going to do it. And I originally thought I was just going to do it for a month or two and just like get all the secrets. But it's really a long-term, diligent, kind of pathway. It's not a quick fix. If you're going in it for like weight loss or something, you're like, I want to lose 15 pounds in a month. No, don't do it then. That you're not committed enough. You're not motivated enough. It's not a true goal for you. So, that's kind of the cost. And then how to find one. I just recommend going on to Brooke Castillo's, thelifecoachschool.com. And she has like hundreds of life coaches that she's certified. And I trust her, and I know that a lot of these life coaches have worked extremely hard to get where they are, and they've become very successful because she has programs that encourage them to earn $100K and over $1 million. And they work really hard to get where they are, and they do a lot of training, and just they try to be the best that they can for you. And so, yeah, that's what I recommend. It took me a long time to find a coach that I liked And I did so much research. It took me weeks to finally commit because it is a big investment. But yeah, so that's just kind of my 2 cents on Life Coach, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this episode, please subscribe to me on whatever platform that you're listening to, and reach out to me and let me know how you're doing and how this podcast affected you. And I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.